welcome to John Gets Games. Today I'll be doing a full playthrough for Mombasa. This game plays 2 to 4 players, but this video will be of 3 players, and what you're doing in this game is controlling 4 different companies that are actively colonizing Africa. And what's really going on here is a bunch of mechanics behind the scenes. You've got a bit of worker placement, you've got a bit of area control, you've got some deck building, you have simultaneous action selection. Oh man, there's tons of stuff going on here. So I will start playing the game and I'll teach it as we go through, so let's jump right into it. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of things going on here, but I'll explain each individual bit as we bump into them while we're playing the game. For the purpose of this video, we will be playing as the green player, and I'll try to explain the thought process behind this player's turns, but not necessarily for the other 2 players. So this is our player board here, and it's divided into a couple sections. This left-hand spot is our diamond track, and this little diamond starts at 0, and it can work its way around that through various means. And then over here is our book track, which is a bit of a snake. We're going to be adding more books to this, but I'll get into that later. Each player begins the game with an effectively identical set of cards. However, each player also has 3 cards already in their 3 discard piles, and you know what they are based off of this little token down here, which is given to each player. And we see that there is a 2 banana, 2 exploration hat, and a 1 exploration hat. Well, that's why we have 2 banana, 2 explore, 1 explore already not inside our hand of cards, but they're in the 3 discard piles. At this point, each player simultaneously picks 3 cards from this current hand of 7, and they're going to put them face down in these 3 slots here. Once all 3 players have decided what the cards are, then we will reveal them. Before we move on, let's talk a little bit more about what we're doing here. Here is a map of Africa, and there are 4 companies that are currently colonizing Africa. And each player is not necessarily affiliated with one company or another. What you can do is invest in stock for those companies, but realistically, for the purposes of the game, it's more like you get experience in a company, and the more experience you have, the better you do with that specific company. But you can never sell stocks in this game, so it really isn't a stock market game. You'll see there are these tracks that are going along each side of the board, and each track is associated with the company that is next to it. The red one down here is Cape Town. This one over here, the white one, is St. Louis. The orange one is Cairo, and over here the black one is Mombasa. These tokens here represent each of the 3 characters and how much influence they have in each particular company. We all start with a little bit based off of our asymmetric starting tiles, and so we can see here that the purple player starts with 2 for Cape Town. We see that yellow starts with 1 in St. Louis, and we actually, as green, start with 3 in Mombasa over here. And these tracks are important for a couple reasons. First of all, the farther down you get on the track, the more money you'll get at the end of the game based off of how well that company in particular is doing, and the object of the game is to have the most money at the end. The second thing about these tracks is you can actually unlock new abilities based on how far you go down them, but I'll go into those details later. There are 4 main resources in the game. We have exploration, coffee, cotton, and bananas. And each one of these can be used to increase your influence on all 4 of these tracks. However, each one of these resources is a little bit better at doing one company versus another. Exploration is a little bit better at pushing the Mombasa, the black track, up. The coffee is a little bit better at pushing up Cairo over here. Cotton is a little bit better at pushing up St. Louis. And finally, bananas is a little bit better at pushing Cape Town down here. So with that in mind, it probably makes sense for us to have at least one of our cards be this exploration card, because again, we started with 3 bumps on that Mombasa track. By the way, if you're curious why, this little thing down here says 3 and a Mombasa, because again, these are little asymmetric tiles we all get at the beginning of the game. So I think we should probably use this to kind of increase our advantage with Mombasa, and we can put this down at any of these 3 slots. I think we'll probably put it here for reasons that will be obvious in just a little bit. So now we need to pick 2 more cards from our hand to fill these 2 slots here. Now we could just take this 2 of cotton and this 2 of coffee, plunk those down, and be pretty powerful this turn. The problem is that next turn we're going to mostly have a hand of these 1s, because at the end of each turn you're going to pull up one of your 3 discard piles, and all the cards in that pile will come back into your hand. So obviously we might be able to pull one of these 2s into our hand, but we'll have a lot of 1s, and that's not great. So instead I think we should prioritize coffee. We're going to take the 2 and the 1, and we'll put them down like this. So another thing to know about the positioning of these cards is at the end of a turn, once one of these stacks has been pulled, all 3 of these cards are going to slide right up and filter into these discard piles. So each discard pile will have a different number of cards than other ones, and also different power levels of the card. So for instance, at the end of this turn, if we took this one into our hand, then this 2 would go here and this 2 would go here. On future turns, we could grab 2 double exploration cards for 1 action and do a big exploration turn, or we could have these 2 together. In fact, the more I think about it, we're probably going to want to pull that banana up at the end of our turn. So let's do this so that our 2 of coffee is going to get filtered into this card, which I think we're a little bit more interested in. But of course, we're actually putting these cards face down so that no one else sees what we're doing. But for the purposes of the rest of this video, we will just keep these face up. Alright, so we've all picked now, and we can see that purple chose a 2 of exploration and a 1 and 2 of banana. And yellow went with a 2 banana, a 2 cotton, and a 1 of cotton. And I should probably point out that the yellow player actually starts with 1 on their diamond track because that's what their little player tile showed them. So we've now reached the general action phase, and since we have the starting player token, that means we're going to take the first action, and once we've taken one, then purple will take an action, then yellow, then back to us, and we'll keep going until all 3 of us has taken as many actions as they want. Once you get to the point where you have no more actions to take, you pass, but people keep taking actions around you. The first of these actions is that we can spend some of our cards that we chose in order to purchase new cards from this grid over here, and the cost is the little red number in the bottom plus the modifier. So this one would be 2 plus 1 or 3, this one is also 2 plus 1, and this one is 2 plus 0, so that card only costs 2. And that cost is simply 1-to-1 to the value of the card, so I could just flip over this coffee card in the round in order to purchase this card over here for 2, although I wouldn't have access to the potential value of this card going forward. And this is important because you have this whole zone down here where you could put your bonus markers down, which are essentially workers in a worker placement style game. The first ones that I'd like to show you are these 4, which are associated with the 4 companies around the board. Each player has 2 of these bonus tokens, and as their action for the turn, they can take one of these and put it down into one of these circular spots as long as nobody else is there already. But if you look at the 4 that are associated with the companies, you'll see that this says Max Coffee Bean, Max Cotton, Max Banana, and Max Explorer. This means that you can only put your token down into one of those zones if you are showing the maximum number of that specific type of resource in your player area. And it's also important to note that ties are friendly here. So I have 2 Explore, but so does purple. That means we both have max exploration, so it's going to be a bit of a race in order to get to this spot down here. And because of that, I think it's in our best benefit to take this spot before purple does. And it's important to note that this doesn't actually spend that exploration card. You just have to be able to prove you had the most face up when you put that token down, which we currently do. So now we get to look at this little chart here. We see that we only had 2 explorations, so we only get to hit this top row here. And it says we get 2 bumps on the Mombasa track, and we're going to get 1 gold. So here's the gold. So here we are on the Mombasa track. We move 2 steps forward. And it's important to note we just crossed this threshold that has a little 1 here. This just means that we now have 1 stock in the Mombasa company. It's now the purple player's turn, and they choose to use this exploration card to do an exploration action. Quick correction, you're not allowed to spend these exploration cards when you're purchasing cards over here. You can only spend banana, cotton, and coffee for that. So when you execute these exploration actions, you have to use all of the cards that you have face up in front of you that have Explore. The purple player only has this too, so they're going to flip this over because it now does not matter for this majority because that spot was taken, and they're going to take 2 exploration actions. The purple player begins the game with a little bit of influence in Cape Town, and they decide to extend that a little bit. So when you are using your exploration points, they all have to be expanding a single company. They choose Cape Town, and now what you do is you start taking these little huts and you put them out on the board. In order to put them down, you're going to spend these exploration points. It costs 1 exploration point to cross a single line, like these you see here. It costs 2 exploration points to cross a double line, and it costs a extra exploration point to kick somebody out of a region, but we'll talk about that later. So looking at this here, we can take this little house and we can put it right here for a single exploration point. In fact, we put it kind of end up to show that we have not taken the bonus for it yet. We now have 1 more exploration point. We have a couple options because when you are expanding a company, you can go from where they started or a spot they're already at. So we could spend a single exploration point to go to this zone because we would just be crossing this 1 white line here. However, I think it probably makes the most sense for us to expand into this area right here that's just right in front of us because we're going to get a couple other bonuses. The purple player could have chosen this house here and revealed 2 coins, but the revealed coins don't matter till the very end, and there's a very good reason why you want to get all the way down to the end of these columns, because if you ever uncover the bottom one, it has 2 coins, and it can never be covered back up again once we really start jousting for positioning over here. We're going to be kicking houses out back and forth, but if you reveal one of these, it always stays revealed, so they're going to start going down one specific column. So now that we've used all of our expansion points, let's go ahead and get the bonuses. We flip this house down to show that we're taking the bonus. We're going to get 1 on our diamond track, and then we get 1 influence in the company that was just expanded, so that would be Cape down here. So the purple player would get 1 influence down there because of that bonus. And that diamond boosts them once up on their track. And now we flip this house over, which gives us 2 bookkeeping points. And these can be spent up here to buy books for our bookkeeping track, or you could always spend 1 bookkeeping point to just take $1 from the bank. You'll notice there are 3 different color books up here. We have 4 A's, 4 B's, and 4 C's. The A's and B's all cost 1 bookkeeping point each. The C's cost 2. The reason for that is because the C's are much easier to fulfill the requirements on these books. Our purple player decides to grab this book here. That costs them both of their bookkeeping points. And now they have to put this book somewhere on their bookkeeping track. You don't have to go in order. You notice that some of these spots have an A with a slash through it, which means you have to put a B or a C on those spots, but the purple player decides to put this right there. And the reason for that is because when you evaluate bookkeeping spots, which I'll go into a little more detail later, you're going to need to hit the requirement in the top left of all the books, but you can keep using the same requirement over and over. So their first one is 2 banana, and this one is any number of bananas, so that means both these books have the same requirement, so it's nice and synergized. So that ends purple's action. The yellow player decides to use their 2 bananas, they flip them over, and they're going to purchase this card over here. It costs 2 plus 0, so this card goes right into their hand. They can use it on their next turn. It is important to note that you're supposed to refill this book track as soon as the turn is over where somebody takes some stuff. It's back to us. We have 3 coffee power, which is more than the 0 and 0 that the purple and yellow players have, which means that we can take this token here, put it down on this spot right here, and showing 3 coffee power is actually going to get us 3 bumps on the Cairo track. So we go 1, 2, 3. And the reason we're doing that is because once we get to this spot here, first of all, we would have a stock in Cairo, which is nice. We would also get a gold from the bank for getting here, and also it would unlock a new spot to put our little bonus token down. This spot is great. It means we can actually sell a card from our hand, we get rid of it permanently, and we're going to get the buy value in the bottom plus 3 in gold back, and having gold around is not a bad thing. The purple player has 3 banana power to the 0 and 0 of their opponents, which means they can put this down here on the max banana, and since they have 3 of them, that means they're going to get to go up twice on the Cape Town track. So that puts them 1 past getting a stock, but they're still 1 shy of this power down here. The yellow player has 3 cotton power to the 0 and 0 of both of their opponents, which means they get to put this max cotton spot here. 3 power only gets them to the 2 level. That means they get to go up twice on the St. Louis track. They started the game with 1, so now they get 2 more. I think it's time for us to use our expansion points, so we'll flip this over and we get 2 of them to play with. So right off the bat, we could spend both of our expansion actions to get over here, crossing this thick line, or to jump over here, crossing this thick line, but that doesn't seem like too great of an option. I think we should instead take this little hut, put it over here, because that's going to give us 1 bookkeeping point and a bump up on the Mombasa track, and then let's take this hut, go here, because that's going to give us $2, and just having money is victory points at the end of the game, and you can also spend it to do some pretty cool stuff. So first of all, we get our 2 money by exhausting this guy. So now let's flip this guy over. It gives us 1 bump on the Mombasa track, and now we're 3 away from getting to this spot here, which would not only be 2 shares in the company, but from this point on, as long as you play any exploration, you get an extra 1 every time for the rest of the game, so that's quite powerful. But we still have 1 more bookkeeping point to use, so let's look at where we're at. We have 1 cotton and 1 coffee as a requirement in order to pass this first book here. And we were really hoping to find a cotton and coffee book over here, but unfortunately there is none. There is this 3 cotton right here, but that would mean we need 3 cotton and a coffee to do 2 jumps, and that's quite hard because you also need to have a bookkeeper card in play, and right now at this point of the game we only have 3 slots open to us. However, there is a way to spend a little money to get some bonus actions, and we have 4 money now, so let's go ahead and take this one right here for a single point. We see that it only needs 1 cotton, and we already have a card that needs cotton, and then this over here shows that we're going to need a diamond merchant or an extra bookkeeper when we are doing the bookkeeping action. I'll explain this in depth soon, I promise. So let's go ahead and put it right there on our bookkeeping track. The purple player decides to activate this spot here. This slash with a 1 simply means that the first player cannot take this as their first action, and that's important because by going here, the purple player now takes the first player action and they get 1 bookkeeping point. They decide to spend that point grabbing this tile right here. It's got a 1 banana on it, and they already have a bunch of bananas on their books, and then it does require a jeweler or an extra bookkeeper. This time I'm not going to forget to fill in the spot immediately. And they decide to put this book right in line with their other ones. The yellow player decides to spend all 3 of their cotton power buying this card right here. It's a diamond merchant. It costs 1 plus 2, so 3, and whenever it's used, it gets you a diamond and 2 money. The only stuff we have left are these 3 coffees, and we could use this to buy a card, or we could bump up 3 times on this Mombasa track, and starting on the second turn of the game, already get exploration bonuses, and I think that is a little more interesting. So we'll exhaust both of these, and that lets us go 1, 2, 3, so we now have 2 stock in the Mombasa company, and from now on we get +1 to our expansions. And the purple player decides to do the same thing. They exhaust both of these bananas to get 3 power. They don't buy any of these cards. they're going to go up once on the Cape Town track, which now means in the future, whenever they make a purchase with bananas, they get a 1 discount on that purchase. And then they're going to go up here and they're going to bump up twice on the Cairo track. It's the yellow player's turn. They have no more cards face up. They just have this 1 bonus action. And first of all, there are all these bonus actions here I haven't discussed yet, and you'll see they cost money. Well, the yellow player only has a single money, so the only one they could afford is this one up here. And just so you know, when you put your marker down in here, at the end of that turn, you will get a bonus action associated with it, and this one right here gives you +1 to a good that you place down. And I don't think the yellow player is that interested in that at this point. Instead, they decide to go here, which lets them sell one of the cards in their hand, and they'll get the buy value +2 for it. The yellow player decides they don't want this 1 banana, so they'll get 1 + 2 gold from the bank, which of course is 3. It's back to us, and at this point we have no more bonus markers to place, and we've used all of the cards in front of us, which means we have to pass. In fact, looking at the purple and yellow player sheets, all of us now pass. So now we want to take one of these 3 cards into our hand before we cycle all these cards up into the new discard piles. Now, at first glance, we might want to take this 2 of exploration because we're really good at exploration right now. But if we wait, then this will go up there, and on a future turn we could grab both of these to get 4 exploration, which is a very powerful situation to be in. We could also take this 2 banana because that's pretty good. We already have 1 banana in our hand. Or we could take this really lowly 1 exploration here. Now this wouldn't be bad because remember we get a +1 exploration when we play these cards. In fact, we kind of want to be playing exploration cards almost every turn. But if we don't do that, then this coffee could filter up there and we could get them both on a future turn. I think this actually does make the most sense. Let's grab this so we can make use of that bonus to the Mombasa track that we spent all those cards doing. So this comes into our hand, and these guys will all filter up for future turns. The purple player draws this card into their hand, and then they filter up their discards. The yellow player takes this 2 coffee into their hand, and then all of their cards slide up. It's the end of round 1, so we take these 2 coins here. They kind of slide down. They'll add little incentivizers for people to grab these 2 books. When they do, they'll grab a coin, and we can now see that it's going to be round 2. And now we reset the card area. All cards in the rightmost column are eliminated. All other cards slide all the way to the right. And then we deal out new cards from the deck according to this. And you may have noticed that the starting cards all had A's and we're now into B's. So it is a somewhat sorted deck. You shuffle each individual letter amongst themselves, but the cards will come out in an orderly fashion. And everybody takes their bonus markers back from the board. And now everybody simultaneously chooses 3 of their cards to put face down in front of them. So we still have this bookkeeper here, and I'm not going to go into the specifics of them just yet. You use this card in order to move your inkwell along, and it does not make sense for us right now because we would need to have cotton, coffee, and a second bookkeeper or a diamond merchant face up in our area. We don't have a second bookkeeper or diamond merchant, so let's just ignore that for now. We know we want to play this card for sure because we want to get that bonus to our exploration. So maybe what we'll do is put it over here, because that way, at the end of the turn, we figure at the end of this turn, we're going to be grabbing these back into our hand. So we can put this here, so we'd have 3 cards over here for a future turn to get a really big grab. I don't know if we care as much about coffee. And then looking at the rest of it, well, 1 banana doesn't do us really good, any good at all. So let's take both of these, and yeah, let's put these down here so that when we grab this weak 1 will go there. And this discard pile will get better for the future as well, with 2 coffee and 2 cotton in it. The purple player chose 2 coffee, 2 cotton, and 1 coffee, so we have 3 cotton. We get to beat out their 2 cotton here, which is nice, but they currently have the coffee lead. And the yellow player played their diamond merchant, as well as a 2 coffee and 2 exploration. The purple player is now first player, so they get to take an action. They can see that they have the most coffee beans, but they do not have the most cotton at the moment. Purple decides to use their bonus marker on the max coffee, since they currently have the most with 3. At 3, they get to move up 3 times on the Cairo track. And this pushes purple up 1, 2, 3, which now means they have 1 stock in Cairo, but they've also unlocked this spot here, which now lets them sell cards, and when they actually get their value +3 instead of the +2 that's on the other side of the board. It's also important to note that purple gets 1 gold for doing this. And in addition to that, in the future, when anybody else crosses this 1 gold threshold, purple will get another gold for being there first. It's at this point I realized I forgot to give myself a gold for hitting this spot, so let's go ahead and retroactively throw that into our bank. The yellow player currently has 2 expansion actions, and remember we have 1 + 1 for the Mombasa track, so we're both tied for the most. Unfortunately for us, the yellow player got there first, and they decided to make their action be going down here for max expansion. They're going to get a gold from the bank for doing that, and 2 bumps on the Mombasa track, which brings them to 2. Since we don't have a shot at the max expansion anymore, let's go ahead and use this. So it's 1 plus 1 over there. We have 2 expansion points. Now if we look at Mombasa, we see we could go up here to get a gold. We could cross double lines here to get a book point, or double lines here to get another bump on the Mombasa track. There's a bump down here. We could go in these 2 spots and get a bump and a book point, but we have other options. We could expand different companies. We started gaining influence in Cairo, and nobody has picked any of these nice juicy spots that are really close to Cairo just yet, so I think we should expand this company. Right off the bat, I think going here makes a ton of sense. We get a book point, and we're going to get 2 bumps on the Cairo track, which is going to get us up to this point to get us a gold, and it'll also unlock this ability for us. And I think it makes the most sense for us to take this spot and go over here to get a second bookkeeping point. This is nice because it means that we're going to get 2 bookkeeping points in order to buy stuff over here. In fact, let's just go ahead and use both of those right now. Let's bump up Cairo twice. That brings us up here, which is going to get us 1 gold, but it also gives purple 1 gold. And then we can spend our 2 bookkeeping points on this over here, which is pretty important for us. And let's put it down right here. It's nice because we're already going to have to satisfy that requirement. The purple player goes here. They spend 2 money for the privilege of doing that, and it means on the next turn they're going to get access to this diamond merchant here, which is an extra action. It doesn't count as the base 3 that you need to use, but they're not going to get this until the end of the round. The yellow player decides to expend their 2 expansion points. They're going to put 1 expansion over here, which is going to get them 2 diamonds, and they'll put the other one down here, which gets them a bookkeeping point and 1 bump on the track. So let's go ahead and give those to them. The 1 bump means they now have 1 stock in the St. Louis company, and they're getting pretty close to this spot here where they can spend money in order to get more bookkeeping points and diamonds. They take 2 diamonds on their track down here, and now they have 1 bookkeeping point. We see right now their only requirement is 2 exploration. They decide to take this tile right here, which is just 2 exploration and 1 coffee requirement, and they're going to place that right there. We've got 6 money, so I think it makes sense to plunk down here, costing us 2 of those dollars, but it's great because it means next turn we get this cardboard bonus action, which does not count as our base 3. It'll give us 2 extra exploration, and that combined with the exploration cards we're going to be grabbing, we can do a monster expansion turn. The purple player decides to spend their 2 cotton card in order to grab this double banana for just $2, because that's 1 plus 1 over there. The yellow player decides to exhaust their double coffee. Now they could purchase this card over here, but they decide to instead go up twice on this track, so they're really close to that bonus ability. So we've got this 3 cotton, and that is the most, and we have 1 more bonus marker available to us. We could decide to go on this max cotton spot. It would bump us up twice on this track over here, but we have quite a ways to go. I guess we would be 2 away from getting 1 stock in the company, and that will almost surely be worth money at the end. Instead, I think we should go over here. We'll use this spot, and we're going to sell this 1 banana. It's not really doing anything for us, so we get 1 plus 3 gold from the bank, or 4. So this brings us up to 8, which is quite a bit. Gives us lots of flexibility for using those expensive actions. They're also worth 1 victory point each at the end of the game, so that's nice too. The purple player decides to spend all 3 of their coffee, buying yet another banana card, which makes sense for them because they get discounts on purchasing new cards when they spend bananas. The yellow player decides to take the first player marker from the purple player. That also gives them 1 book point, with which they will take this one over here, plus the bonus coin involved. So they get their coin, and then they'll put the book right here. This is really nice for them. It's 2 expansion, 2 expansion and a coffee, and 2 expansion and 2 coffee, so it's really well aligned. Alright, the last thing we can do is use these 3 cotton, and we could either buy a card, or we could go up some tracks. But here's the problem, we only have 1 card in our hand right now because we sold that card, and we're going to be pulling up 2 from our discard, so we'd only have 3 options available, and we don't want to use this yet. We want to use this on the turn after, so I think we really need to buy a card. So with this 3 buying power, let's go ahead and spend 2 of it to grab this double cotton right here, and then we have 1 extra left over that we can put somewhere on the board. We know next turn that we'll be hitting this 6 or more exploration spot, which will put us 4 up, and that gets us 4 away from this next location, which will give us more money and even more expansion points for taking over Africa. So I think let's just throw the extra 1 over here to try and get to that +2 quicker. The purple player is out of things to do, so they pass. They draw both of these cards into their hand, and then all these cards go on up to the top of their discard piles. The last thing the yellow player can do is use this diamond merchant, so it gets them 1 diamond and 2 money, so that pushes their diamond farther up on the track, and then 2 money is now theirs. They have tons of money. So it comes back to us, and there's nothing else we can do, so let's go ahead and pass. Now we can take both of these exploration cards up into our hand, and all these cards will flip over and go into the new discard piles. Purple already passed, so now it comes to green. They pass, they grab both these cards into their hand, and then of course all their cards filter up. So that was the end of round 2. Now we begin round 3. We take this single coin off and put it there to incentivize this book. We reset the card row by discarding the far right row. All these slide over, get cheaper, and then we deal out new cards from the top of the deck. Lastly, we see that the purple player is going to get this diamond merchant for their turn, and we see that we, the green player, are going to get this double exploration. And now everybody takes all of their tokens back into their areas, and we can begin round 3. So now everybody chooses 3 cards, and for us it's a bit of a no-brainer. We're not in a position to use this bookkeeper yet, unfortunately, because we didn't really plan far enough ahead. We don't have the coffee, and we also don't have the extra bookkeeper or jeweler in our area, so we cannot use this card really at all, so that gives us 3 cards left. So now we have to figure out how we want to put these down. I think we'll be drawing these 2 cards up at the end of the round, so I think what we should do is put an exploration underneath that one, and then I think, let's see, let's go ahead and put this 2 cotton over there, so eventually when we grab all these, that 2 will go up with that 2 bananas. And this 2 exploration, it can go over here. We're exploring pretty hard right now. I don't think we need to keep hitting that over and over again. We have other things we need to do as well. The purple player chose 2 bananas, 2 more bananas, a bookkeeper, and then they have this freebie diamond merchant. And the yellow player went 2 expansion, 2 coffee, and a bookkeeper. The yellow player decides to use this spot over here. That's going to let them spend 1 money, but now they can buy one of these cards for gold instead of the card value on their cards. They're going to spend 4 money in order to grab this diamond merchant here. It's a little different than the other one because this one gets you 2 diamonds and then 1 money. It's also worth 1 stock at the end of the game, which is great because the yellow player's already been vested in St. Louis. Plus, for every 2 mining picks that company has, they'll get a new diamond. And right now, the white company is on a spot that has 2 mining picks. For our first action, we're going to spend $2 and go here. That's going to allow us to have the bonus merchant on the next turn, which we really need in order to make our book track go. Purple has the most bananas with 4, so they're going to go here. And 4 means that they get to move 3 spots on the Cape Town track and go up 1 on the diamond track. So they go 1, 2, 3. They now have 2 stocks in Cape Town, and they get their second diamond. The yellow player decides to play their bookkeeper, and the first thing they can do is spend $2 in order to flip one of these books over, but they don't have to. Now they're going to move their inkwell as far as they can. So again, they move over here. They have 2 expansion points showing. They go here. They have 2 expansion and a coffee. They go here. They have 2 expansion and 2 coffee, and that is where they stop. Where they stop, you're going to get the bonus. In this case, it's 2 gold. So these 2 gold go into their bank, and the last thing is that this bookkeeper gives them 2 more bookkeeping points to add more books to their track. They decide to spend both of those on this one right here. They have all these diamond merchants, so it should be relatively easy for them to satisfy this requirement. They're going to put this book over here. They're going to skip a spot, and the reason for that is because this spot can't have an A. They spent a couple points in order to grab this C, so they put it down there, and they hope to find a nice one to fit in the middle. So with our 7 expansion points, we definitely have the most. We can plunk down here. We get 1 gold for doing that, and then we get 4 bumps on the Mombasa track, which will bring us all the way up to 14. It's now time for the purple player to do their bookkeeping. So they don't have the money to fudge any books, and they don't need to anyway. So they slide forward here. They have at least 2 bananas. They slide here. They have at least 1 banana. And they slide over here. They've got at least 1 banana and at least 1 diamond merchant right over here. So the bonus for that is they get 1 diamond. And the last thing is they get 2 book points to spend by grabbing new books. And they decide to take both of these, so they get a bonus gold for one of them. So they get their gold, and they'll put these books down here because they're both A's, so they can't put an A right there. The yellow player decides to exhaust their double coffee in order to move up twice on the St. Louis track. So this not only gets them 1 gold as a bonus for crossing the spot, but they now have 2 stocks in that company, and they can go here to spend $2 in order to get some book points and diamonds. Alright, it's finally time to use all of this expansion. So we use 2, 4, 6, plus the 1 from the Mombasa track, so we have 7 to play with. It's important to note, though, we really want to make sure we get 3 book points because we want to fill up these last 2 slots. And the reason for that is next turn when we do bookkeeping, we want to scoot all the way down to this end because once we unlock this spot here, you see all these papers falling down, that will unlock this as a 4th action spot that we can put our cards in. So we can do 4 cards instead of 3, and that's pretty important. So let's begin by taking this one and spending 1 action to go there and another action to go over here. That gets us our first book point. We take this one over here, we can spend 2 actions to go over here and get another book point. So now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. We can take this one and go 5, 6, going over there. And we have 1 more action point to spend. And the best thing for us, I think, is going to be going over here to get 1 more bump in the Mombasa track. So let's grab our rewards. First of all, we got these 2 here. So we bump twice on the Mombasa track. We're really close to not only more money, but having +2 expansion every turn, which is awesome. And then looking over here, we can expend all 3 of these ones, and that's going to get us the 3 book power that we need, as well as 1 money and a diamond. We already know that we're going to be putting down coffee and cotton cards, so I think we want to grab this one for 2 book points. And finally, it really doesn't matter which one we take. I think we're going to be fudging the books and flipping it over. So let's grab this one here with the money. It makes the pain of having to fudge the books a little less bad. So here's the gold from that book. Here's 1 gold from the territory. We get 1 diamond. Oh, oops, we weren't supposed to be there. We are now at our first diamond. And then we're going to plop our books down just like that. The purple player decides they want to be first player again, and they're going to go ahead and grab this piece, and they get 1 book point to spend. And for them, it can't be an A, and I think they're just going to fudge the books on whatever it actually ends up being, so they'll grab this one. And I'll put it right there. The yellow player goes over here. They're going to spend $2 in order to have another bookkeeper next turn. And I think we are going to exhaust this 2 cotton in order to not only purchase this bookkeeper for 1, which is really cheap, but then spend the remainder over here, which instantly gives us 2 gold back into our bank, and now we get +2 exploration every turn instead of +1. The purple player seems pretty irked by that. They spend both of their bananas in order to grab this guy down here for 4, although they do get 1 discount, so they have 1 remainder. And they decide to spend that remainder up here on the Cairo track. The last thing the yellow player can do is spend this in order to get their 2 expansion points. And they don't seem terribly happy about expanding Cape Town, but they need to go over here in order to grab the 1 book point they need in order to make a big bookkeeping thing happen next turn for them. And they decide to grab this one. They're going to put this down right here on their bookkeeping track. And I just realized they didn't spend their last expansion point, so they'll go ahead and take this one, giving themselves another $1. We are out of things to do, so we're going to go ahead and draw one of our discard piles into our hand for the next turn. And then all of these are going to filter on up. We got a lot of cards here on the left-hand side. The purple player now uses their diamond merchant here. It's just going to give them 2 diamonds, and yep, that's it. They would have also gotten more diamonds if they had other diamond merchants played at the same turn, but that's not the case. The green player's turn is over. They're going to draw this back into their hand, so then all of their cards come on up, and they also have a very large discard pile right here in the middle. And now we have purple's last action. They're going to go here. They're going to go ahead and sell this card here for 1 + 3 or $4. So they get their $4, and then yellow is already passed, and then we've already passed, so it comes back to them, and they need to drop one of their piles. They decide to grab this middle one here into their main pile, and then these all filter on up. Alright, so we move the coins down for the end of the 3rd round, going into the 4th round. We discard all 3 of these cards. They're really good cards. It just didn't make sense for people to grab them. And then we slide everything down. The final thing is these cards go back to the main area, and then people grab the ones they've paid for. So yellow is going to be grabbing the bookkeeper, and we are grabbing this diamond merchant. We grab the rest of the pieces, and we're ready to start the next round. Alright, it's time to pick 3 new cards. Well, we certainly are not going to be playing both of these bookkeepers, so that's pretty easy. This whole turn really is just all about making that bookkeeper track go forward for us. So let's go ahead and put this one down here in kind of the weakest column for discarding, because we know we already have a bookkeeper. And then with these ones right here, I think we probably want to do this, because we're going to be grabbing these cards on the next turn, and at least this way we can have our cotton balls sync up in this discard here. The purple player played a bookkeeper and a 2 cotton and a 2 banana. And the yellow player played 2 diamond merchants as well as a double cotton, and they've got this freebie bookkeeper action. The purple player begins by going here. They're going to spend 2 coins for that, and next turn they're going to get the expansion bonus card. All 3 of us have 2 cotton, which means we all have the max, and the yellow player decides to capitalize on that by going here and getting 2 bumps on the St. Louis track. And that gets him all the way here. He's only 3 off from another stock in the game. It is important to note to cross this threshold would cost 5 money, but we'll get to that when we get there. We've got 2 coffee, which is also the most out of anybody, so I think it makes the most sense for us to go onto this spot. That lets us get 2 more bumps on the track, and that gets us a little bit closer to better stocks. The yellow player decides it's time to do some bookkeeping. So the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to spend 2 of their dollars, and they're going to fudge the books over here. They don't have the 4 bananas that they need, and it just seemed a little bit too hard, so they're going to flip that over, get rid of these. That's a bit of a bummer, but now they can move their inkwell over here. They have 2 cotton and 1 banana, skip this, and 1 cotton and 2 bananas, so they go all the way over there, and they're going to get 1 gold back as a bonus. Also, this now unlocks this spot, so for every turn for the rest of the game, the purple player gets 4 action slots. Finally, this is a bit of an upgraded bookkeeper, so the purple gets to take 3 bookkeeping point actions. And with that, they're going to grab these 2 right here with their 3 bookkeeping actions. And they decide to put those here because you can't put an A spot on that one right there. And now the yellow player will do the same, except they're using this bonus action card. The only real difference is that they only get one book action at the end instead of two. So they're going to spend $2 in order to fudge this book right here because they do not have the exploration they need. But then when they jump over that, they go to here. They just need to show they have at least a diamond merchant, and they've actually got two of them. So they get a reward of 2 gold for that spot, and now they also have unlocked this 4th action slot. And finally, they get that 1 book action. And they decide to grab this book here, and they place it right here on their book track. I think it's time for us to also do our bookkeeping, and this one is going to be a very big one. To the start, we can spend 2 coins in order to flip over one of these books that we need to fudge. And that's going to be this book. Unfortunately, we have 2 cotton, but we don't have 3, so that one gets flipped over. We lose the $2. And now we go here, we show that we have 1 cotton, 1 coffee. We go here, we have the cotton, and we have the diamond merchant. Here we've got the diamond merchant. We jump over this, and then we show we have at least 1 cotton. Unfortunately, the bonus is this number of cotton minus 1 in gold back. So we're just going to get 1 gold as a bonus, but that's okay. We've unlocked our 4th action slot, which is the real thing that we're gunning for. And lastly, we get 2 book buying actions. There doesn't appear to be any amazing synergies going on here, so I think what we probably want to do is grab this one because we're pretty good at doing it, and then I think we'll grab, I think we're going to want, let's go ahead and grab this one because it's very versatile. It just needs any amount of coffee. It uses both of our points, but that's okay. Then let's look a little bit to the future and put it on this spot here, which cannot be an A, and hopefully we can jump over there and we start getting much more points for crossing those banners. The purple player is going to exhaust their 2 banana in order to purchase this 2 expand card right here. It costs 3 normally, but they get a discount for being up high on the Cape Town track, and this is also worth 1 share of Cairo stock. Before we go into Yellowstone, I actually want to change the past a little bit here. I was not thinking too clearly when I had them bump this up twice in that last turn. The real thing they should have done is move up twice on this Mombasa track. That's just a brain fart on my end, but I know that they moved 2 up over there the end of last turn, so I'm just going to correct it over here. That's definitely what they should have done. The yellow player will now go onto this spot, which costs them 2 money, and they'll get 1 book point and 2 diamonds. And wow, they are in luck. They can grab this for 1 point, and that exactly matches the one right before it at 2 cotton and 2 coffee, so that was really good for them. And then they grab their 2 diamonds. So we've got these options left. There's no real time crunch on playing this, and unfortunately, you can't combine these for buying cards, so we're probably going to be using one of these to buy cards and one of these just to bump up tracks. So let's go ahead and spend this cotton right here. It's going to give us 2 power, and let's go and grab this one. It only costs us 1, which means we have 1 extra, and we can maybe go for some big coffee pushes to do a lot better on the Cairo track. And with our 1 excess, let's bump up on this track here. It'd be great endgame to be able to hit this once or twice because you can sell a card plus 8 gold, which is just a great way to liquidate your hand and get lots of points. Purple decides to go on this spot here, allowing them to sell this 1 cotton card for 1 plus 3 or $4. The yellow player decides to exhaust their 2 cotton card in order to pick up another 2 cotton card for 2. Our last resource card is this 2 coffee, and unfortunately we can't buy anything with 2 coffee, so I think we're going to be bumping up tracks. So let's go up 1, 2. We're getting ever more closer to this awesome action spot. Purple decides to follow suit. They expend this 2 cotton, and they go up twice on the Cairo track. The yellow player now decides to use this diamond merchant here. It's going to get them 2 diamonds, plus a money, plus 1 diamond for every 2 mining symbols that the St. Louis company has. Currently, they have 2 of them, so that's 1 bonus diamond. So that's a total of 1, 2, 3 diamonds. So they go 1, 2, 3. And this is important because this spot, once you cross it, or at least go there, it unlocks another spot you can put cards. This means the yellow player can put 5 cards down each turn instead of 3 like they did in the last turn. So we really need to use our marker, and the only slots for it right now are over here. Unfortunately, we can't use either of these. We just don't have the goods for it. We could liquidate a card, but that doesn't seem like a great idea. We have tons of money. So we could go over here and spend some money. We don't really want another bookkeeper. We could go here and get a diamond merchant, but we have so few diamonds, I don't know if it's even worth losing that money at this point. We could spend 1 money. This would give us 1 extra resource of our choice. It buffs a resource card on our next turn. I guess it's either that or we go first. And we could take another book for our book track, and that could be nice, and going first. Right now we're going last, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go here. We'll grab the first player marker, Currently, the only thing we're building towards is coffee. I think we might want to go with one of these A's because they're a little bit easier. In that case, let's go ahead and grab this one. It has a 2 banana on it as well. We'll see if we have to fudge these books or not. So we'll throw that down right there. The purple player is out of things to do, so they're going to go ahead and draw up one of their discard piles, and then they're going to sort out all of the cards that they used on this turn. The last thing the yellow player can do is use this diamond merchant here, so they get 1 diamond and 2 money. And the last thing we can do is use this bonus action diamond merchant to get 2 diamonds. Remember, we mostly did this just to go up on these books, so we get our 2nd and 3rd diamond. We really would like to get 1, 2, 3 more diamonds to grab those 10 points by the end of the game. It's time for yellow to pass. They're going to draw these cards into their hand, and then these cards are going to come up. They really do have a gigantic middle stack there. And now we pass, and I think we should take this big stack here because we're going to have 4 slots to put stuff into, and even though these have the really strong explorations, we can always drop this single exploration and get a bonus 2 because of the Mombasa track. So I think that's our best call. And then we push these all the way up to the top, just like normal. It's the end of the round, so once again, we move the coin down to show we're jumping into the 5th round now. The cards are going to cycle out. We discard the right-hand ones. These all shift over. And we're going to start to see more and more powerful cards as we get into the C stack. The bonus tiles go back into the display, and the only person who bought a new one for the next round would be the purple player. So we grab all of our tokens and get ready for the next round. So now we get to choose 4 cards from this hand, and we've got ourselves into a little bit of a pickle. If we were to use 4 of these cards and not use the bookkeeper, then we would be tripping ourselves up for the future and trying to solve this book that we put here for some reason. But the other issue is that we don't have a book here yet. So I think what we want to do is take this bookkeeper, put him down over here, and then we'll take this exploration, we'll throw that there, and then we're going to grab these 2 cards and put them over here. In fact, let's put that one like that. That way we can hopefully use this exploration plus our 2 bonus in order to fill in this book and then come in with our bookkeeper and zoom across this, which would get us 10 more points. The purple player played 3 double explorations as well as 2 bananas. This is, of course, the bonus tile they bought in the last round. And the green player has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exploration, as well as 2 bananas and 2 cotton. We're the start player, and I think the smart thing for us to do is to go down here. We spend $2 right now, and it means that next turn we're going to get that bonus action of 2 exploration, which is great for us because we get this bonus as well. Also, we have that 1 exploration plus 2 of 3, but we know that everybody else is going to be exploring like crazy, which means the black huts are probably going to get beat back, so I want to wait a little bit, have those get beat back, and then come back and probably reclaim a little bit of territory, hopefully one of the ones with the book points in it. All 3 players have 2 bananas, so the purple player decides to make use of this now. They have max just like everybody else, so they get 2 bumps on the Cape Town track. The yellow player's 5 expansion was not enough to be the most because the purple player has 8, so they decide they're going to just use it right now, spend all 5 of these expansion points to get a jump on the purple player. The first thing they'll do is move in here for a single point. Then they'll move into this zone, which is kind of bonusless. Realistically, it's all about using that to go into this spot, which gives them 2 bumps on the track, so that's 1, 2, 3 points used. And for the last 2, they'll take this hut, they'll cross this double line here for 2, going into that spot, essentially robbing that spot from the Cape Town player, making it cost more to go in there. So what this all amounts to is 1 gold and 3 bumps on their track, as well as 1 diamond. So they go 1, 2, 3 on the track, and they're getting pretty close to that 3rd stock option. They get another gold and 1 more diamond. All right, it's our turn, and I think what we should do is spend this exploration point. We get 2 more, so we have 3 total, and I just realized we actually do need to do this now, or else we might be in serious trouble about not even being able to get this 1 book point on the map. The only place on the map where we can actually get that book point is to take this house, jump over this double line for 2, and into this spot where 1 more in order to displace this red house here. It's going to give us the 1 book point that we need. With 1 book point to spend and 2 coffee and 2 bananas, none of these actually make sense. So I think what we're going to do is go ahead and take this one right here, because it's going to come with its own free coin, which will help make paying to fudge the books a little bit less painful. So we get our coin, and then we throw this on here, and hooray, we can now do our bookkeeping. The purple player looks a little annoyed, and they decide, you know what, they're going to spend all 8 of their expansion points, and now do a big push out onto the map. They begin by taking this house, jumping over this double line into this zone here. That's going to cost them 3. Then they'll take this one, jumping over here. That's going to cost them 2, 1 for the single line, and 1 for the enemy house. They'll take this one, unlocking the double coins down at the bottom, jump into here, which costs 2 more. So right now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And with the final one, they're going to go ahead and jump over here and grab a diamond. So first things first, they'll take 2 gold for this and then push this house back over here. They can decide which spot they push it back into, but that makes the most sense to kind of make it harder to get to this double coin down here. And the other spots will get them 1 diamond, 1 bump on the Cape Town track, and 1 more book point, displacing both of these back to the Mombasa area. So the Mombasa company definitely got a lot weaker with that huge expansion from Cape Town. And they decide to take this book here. They'll get their coin for the book. They'll place the book right there. It's a B, so it can go on that spot. They'll get their diamond, which crosses over the 10-point threshold. And finally, they'll bump up once on the Cape Town track. The yellow player decides to go here, spending 1 coin in order to have the option of buying this card here for 4 more coins. It's pretty expensive, but they think this might be worth it. It's time for us to go bookkeeping. Let's spend $2 in order to fudge our books here, pretend like this one never actually happened. And then we go over here, we see that we have 2 coffee, 2 bananas. We go over here, we see we have some number of coffee, so that's great. We're only going to get 1 coin back for doing that as a bonus, but that's okay. We just crossed over this threshold here, so we're now getting 20 endgame points. And lastly, let's get 2 more book points. As of right now, the next 2 book slots both can't be A's, and B's are really quite difficult to satisfy, so let's go ahead and take this C for both of our book actions. And we'll go ahead and put it right there. It's just 2 cotton. That should be relatively easy to satisfy. Purple decides to spend $2 in order to have access to the bonus action Diamond Merchant on the next turn. Unfortunately for yellow, the only cards that they could purchase with either of these are these 2 bookkeepers, and they are already going to be pulling up a bookkeeper on their next turn, so they really don't have a good option at buying more cards. But they will use their last bonus disc to go here, spend $2 and get 1 book point and 2 diamonds. So here's the $2 they're paying, and in retrospect, once they're looking at these books over here, they decide to just take 1 diamond and get 2 bookkeeping points because this one right here is perfect for their bookkeeping track. Because they already have 2 coffee, 2 cotton, 2 coffee, 2 cotton, so they'll throw this down here, 2 more coffee. And then they get that 1 diamond. Unfortunately, we are in a similar predicament as the yellow player. We can't really buy any cards that are good for us at this point with just 2 power and 2 power. But with those 2 coffee, we currently have a majority, so let's go ahead and go here and go 2 more times on the Cairo track. That brings us to here. We're really close to more stocks. Fortunately, Cairo is a bit weak right now, but we're really pushing to come over here and get these huge card sales in the last turns of the game, and I suppose we could probably do some expansions to help these guys out. The purple player decides to spend these 2 bananas in order to buy this triple banana here because they get a discount due to the Cape Town track of 1 off when they're buying with bananas. The yellow player exhausts these 2 cotton in order to go up twice on their St. Louis track here. They are up to the point where they can't go any further, or next time they go, they'll have to spend $5, so they'll have to really think about whether it's worth it to cross that threshold. Let's go ahead and exhaust this 2 coffee in order to go up 2 more times on Cairo. We are super close to that awesome action. The purple player is out of action, so they're going to pass, draw these cards into their hand, and then all of these cards are going to go up. There are new discard piles because we're now playing 4 cards on each turn. The yellow player exhausts this 2 banana in order to go up twice on the Mombasa track. They're trying to balance out their influence through several companies. For our last action, let's spend these 2 bananas in order to go up twice on this track. We now get $2 from the bank immediately for going across that spot, and for the last couple turns of the game, we'll be able to go here, sell a card, and get 8 extra gold for it. The purple player has already passed, so now it's the green player's turn, and they have to pass. They're going to grab all of these cards into their hand, and then all of these cards are going to go up, so they actually have 5 discard piles that they are now working on. So it's nice to be able to do all these actions, but they're also really diluting their cards out into all these different stacks. And now it's our turn and we have to pass as well. I think we should take all of these cards into our hand. We'll have a relatively strong set of options for us on the next turn. We can explore and use that bonus. It was kind of a bummer. We could not do any of that this turn. Maybe that was a mistake. We'll see going forward, but for now, these all slide up into our 4 discard piles. All right, let's move the coins down to show we're done with the 5th round, moving into the 6th round. Next up, let's discard these right-handmost cards, slide everything over. Much less cards were purchased that round. It seemed like nobody was able to make big sets of cards. And then we deal out the next set of cards. Oh, we've now hit the D stack. Once you hit the D and E stacks, you no longer actually get actions for them. They're simply cards that are worth stocks in the given companies. The bonus tile goes back, and then let's see, purple here takes this merchant. We grab this expansion, so we'll get to do lots of expanding next turn. and then we grab the rest of the tokens and we're ready for the next round. Alright, we get to pick 4 of these cards, and I think it's pretty obvious. This card, it does not do very much for us. In fact, we're looking for a target to sell for this plus 8 gold, so I don't think we want to use this one. We're going to go with all of these, so we'll have nice exploring and then a bunch of cotton, which we can use to purchase some stuff. Now we have to think about where we're going to want to put these, and we're only going to be pulling one of these up on the last round, so actually, now that I think about it, it doesn't really matter, because in the last round we'll pull this up, and the discarding locations don't matter, so we'll just put those down like that. The purple player played the merchant, and they played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 banana power, and that's all they put down here. And then the yellow player has a bookkeeper, a merchant, 2 coffee, and 4 cotton power. We're the start player, and we need to think about what we want to do that everybody else is going to want to do. We have the maximum on the cotton currently. We have more than anybody else, so we don't have a pressure on that. We're the only one who's doing any expansion at all, so I think what we really want to do is go down here. Spend 2 of our dollars to make sure that we're going to be the ones who get this bonus action in the final round of the game on the next turn. The purple player has 8 banana power, and they decide why not. They're going to go ahead and do this. It's going to give them 4 bumps on the Cape Town track, and as a bonus, they also get to remove one of these Cape Town houses from the game entirely, so this is just gone. And then they move up 1, 2, 3, 4 times. They do have to spend 5 money in order to do this, but the difference between here and here is actually 2 shares, so they're essentially betting that Cape Town will be worth enough to make this cost worth it. Also, one more tick and they get 2 gold back, so it'll probably mostly pay for itself. And they would also have unlocked the ability to buy cards by summing up any different types of resources and then still getting a discount on it. The yellow player decides to use their diamond merchant to get 1 diamond and 2 money from the bank. They managed to spend all of their money and they cross this threshold, so they're now up to 25 bonus points on the diamond track. We've got 6 expansion power, which is definitely the most, so let's drop down here, and that's great for us because it gets us 1 gold coin, and then we get 4 bumps along the Mombasa track. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are super close to that 5th stock right there, and right now you can see this, each stock is worth 1, 2, 3, 4 gold. Hopefully we can influence that and make it a little better by the end of the game. Purple decides to spend 1 of their bananas plus 1 discount in order to grab this card right here for only 1. It also has a share of St. Louis stock on it, and St. Louis is doing relatively well, so that's a pretty good buy. The yellow player decides to go here. They'll spend their 2 money. They get a book point and 2 diamonds. For the book point, they decide to take this one right here, mostly because it has $1 on it. And then they get 2 diamonds, so they're really making their way up this track. Alright, it's time for us to spend our 2, 4, plus 2 of 6 expansion points, and even though we're really vested in Mombasa, we also have almost 4 stocks in Cairo, and Cairo is really weak right now, so let's spend that 6 points over here. I think the first thing that we want to do is go over here. It's going to get us a diamond. The second thing we want to do is break over these lines here for 1, 2, 3 in order to boot this guy out. And then with the last 2, we will go over here. So we were able to grab 1, 2, 3 diamonds, as well as 1 book point and 1 bump on the Cairo track. So we go forward 1 more on the Cairo track. We're getting really close to those 4 shares. So let's go ahead and grab this one right here. And I just realized I kept talking about using this spot on this turn, and I completely forgot to. I went ahead and did other things with my 2 bonus actions, so I guess we'll just have to get to that on the final turn of the game. And we'll plunk this down right there. We take our 1, 2, 3 diamonds, which is great. We cross that threshold. And then, of course, we have to kick these back to where they came from. The purple player decides to spend this 2 banana here, purchasing this card here for, again, that 1 discount. They're really on a roll, spending all these bananas, getting lots of discounts, and getting lots of shares of this stock. The yellow player decides to do their bookkeeper action now. They don't fudge any books, so they move this forward. They've got 2 cotton and 2 coffee, 2 cotton and 2 coffee, and 2 coffee. And then over here, they can't actually do this one. They can't afford to fudge it, so that's fine. They'll stop there, and they get 2 book points for it. But I'll tell you right now, they're just going to take $2 because you can always convert book points into money at a 1-to-1 rate, and they don't anticipate doing any more book traveling for this game. So they get $2. And of course, the last thing is 2 more book points on this guy. So once again, they're going to take $2 more from the bank instead of actually getting any books. I think it's time for us to spend all 5 of this cotton power. And 4 of it is going to go towards buying this card right here. This is important because it'll let us do 1 more bookkeeping action on the final turn of the game to get 10 more points. And with our last cotton, we'll push over here and get to 5 stocks in the Mombasa company. The purple player stays on a roll. They flip over this 2 banana in order to purchase this card. Once again, it costs 3, but they get a -1 discount, so they are buying tons of stock. This is the 3rd piece of stock card they were able to grab with all of those banana cards they started with for this turn. The yellow player is going to spend 4 cotton power in order to grab this card right here. It's a 3 exploration, but it also has a Cape Town stock on it. We are now out of things to do, so let's go ahead and take this discard stack right here so we can do one more bookkeeper on our last turn. Jump over here, get a 10-point swing. That'll be pretty nice. And then all these go up, just like always. And just to round everything off, the purple player spends this 3 banana and they buy their 4th card of the round. It's pretty incredible. This one would be 2 plus 2 is 4, minus 1. They grab this, it's got a Mombasa stock. What an amazing turn. The yellow player goes here for the first time in the game. They spend a single gold to do it, and they will have access to this +1 resource card for the final round of the game. The purple player goes over here. They decide to sell this card here for 1 plus 3 gold. So they go up 4. For the green player's final action, they will spend 2 coffee in order to go up twice on the Mombasa track, and now they get a gold, but so do we because we are farther up on that track, and they have +1 expansion for the final round of the game. Purple's last action is using this diamond merchant here. They flip it over to get 2 diamond. It actually unlocks their 5th action slot for the final round of the game. The green player is out of actions, so they'll draw this discard pile there, and then they'll put all these cards up, getting themselves ready for the final round of the game. We've passed already and purple is out of things to do, so they will draw this right here into their hand and then sort all these up here. So we take this final gold piece, move it down, and now we discard these right-handmost cards. Wow, lots of cards were purchased in that round of the game. These all slide over, and now we deal out the final cards of the game, which, as I said before, is going to be all stocks. The bonus actions come back, and then yellow is going to get this +1 resource bonus, and then we are going to get the +2 expansion. And finally, let's grab all of the pieces and get ready for the final round of the game. So we've got to pick 4 out of these 5 cards, and I think we definitely want to try and liquidate this one with the +8 action. So let's put these ones down, and the order does not matter, because once again, it's the final round of the game, so where they go into the discard piles does not matter. The purple player played 3, 6, 7, 8 expansion power, plus 2 cotton and 2 coffee. And the yellow player played their diamond merchant, 3 coffee, 2 banana, and 3 expansion. They also have this, which they can put down at any point in time to make one of these +1. We're the start player, and you know that all these stocks are going to be a pretty hot ticket item, including this one down here. It only costs 1, so I think we should expend this coffee. We weren't at max coffee anyway, to grab this for 1 and then spend 1 more bumping a track. I think it makes the most sense to go 1 over here. We now have 4 stock in Cairo. The purple player decides to spend this 2 cotton in order to grab this Cape Town stock here. It only costs 1, however, so they have 1 extra. And they're going to spend that going right here, which is going to get them 2 coins from the bank. Also, they can now combine cards and get a discount, but that's a little late in the game for that to have any impact. The yellow player decides to spend 2 bananas in order to grab this Cairo stock for 2. Alright, let's go ahead and do our bookkeeper. We're going to spend $2 in order to fudge this book here. We were not able to make that work. We had the 3 cotton, but we don't have 3 of something else. It just wasn't going to happen for us. And then we can move forward here because we have the 2 cotton, and we go over here. We're able to cross this threshold. We get 10 extra points at the end of the game, but we don't get any bonuses. Finally, we get 2 book points. However, you can always spend those points for money, and there's no reason to get books anymore. So we'll just take those $2 right back. The purple player decides to go over here, and they're going to go ahead and sell this bookkeeper for 2 plus 3, or 5 points. And here they are. The yellow player uses 3 coffee plus 1 to make it 4 in order to grab 1 stock in Cape Town. I've been talking about it for a while, but I'm finally going to use it. We'll go here. We're going to sell this card for 1 plus 8, or 9 gold. It's a shame we weren't able to use that more times. I definitely could have made that happen last turn, but there's just too much going on. And here we go. Purple has pretty much run out of good spots to put this, so they're going to put it here, take the first player marker, which doesn't have any impact on the game, and they get 1 book point, which they will turn into 1 gold. The yellow player will use this action here to spend 2 coins in order to get 1 book point and 2 diamonds. With the book point, they'll just take $1, and then they go up twice on the diamond track. We've still got this 3 cotton card, and it actually means that we have the most. So I think pretty much the only thing we can really do with that card is we'll go over here because we have the most, and that's going to give us 2 bounces on the St. Louis track. So we go 1, 2, and now on a future turn we can just spend it in order to go 1, 2, 3, cross over this line, and at least get some money for how well St. Louis is doing. Purple decides to use this 2 coffee in order to go up 2 more times on the Cape Town track. Yellow uses their diamond merchant. They get 2 diamonds and 1 gold. Unfortunately, the Cairo company came in and got rid of all the axes that the St. Louis was doing, so they just get the 1, 2 diamonds, but that's okay. It was enough to cross over that threshold, and then here's that dollar. Okay, it's time to do that thing that I said I'd do. We're going to spend this 3 cotton and bump up tracks. We'll go 1, 2, but then looking around, that extra 1 doesn't actually do anything on any other track, including this one, so we'll just spend it here. Doesn't really do anything, but whatever. It's been a big game of expansion chicken, but purple actually loses it. They have nothing else they can do to stall out, so now they're going to use their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 expansion points. Cape Town is still their best bet, and they know that both their opponents are invested quite heavily in Mombasa, so they want to go out there and try and attack and remove as many of those houses as they can. But before any of that, they'll do this. It's nice and easy. They'll go 1, 2, then they'll go 3, 4, 5, then 6, 7, and the 8th point is lost because there's nowhere they can actually legally put it. So they're going to get 1, 2, 3 bumps up on top of the Cape Town track, and then they're also going to be getting 1, 2 diamonds, as well as a gold and a book point. I'll just take 2 gold right now for that. Both of these get displaced. They get their 2 diamonds, which is 1 more than they really needed. And then they go up 1, 2, 3. When they cross this threshold, they actually need to spend $10, but it's still probably going to be worth it for them, because it takes them from 6 to 9 shares. I just realized I made another pretty dumb strategic mistake with one of the characters a few rounds ago. When this went down here and they just got a single piece here, what they really should have done is go over here. At that time they had 8 of the exploration actions, and even though it helps the Mombasa company, it's still definitely in their best interest. So let's just pretend like I went here instead. We'll get rid of this 1 coin, but they'll get 1 back for going here, and they'll get to do 4 bumps on the Mombasa track. Sorry about that. It really is the thing that they would have done if they weren't doing a multiple personality thing. So that would put them at 1, 2, 3, 4. And it now means actually that the yellow player will go into that spot to take a single dollar, because it really is the only spot that I could see out on the board that does them any good at this point. And of course, they take the star player token. Alright, it's time for our last action of the game. We have 2, 4, 6 expansion points. And I think pushing Mombasa makes the most sense for us. And I think it's pretty simple. We take this, we go 1, 2, because we'll get $2, and that's worth points at the end of the game. Then we'll take this one, we'll go 3, 4. We're going to get a bump on the Mombasa track, but it's not going to be enough. We don't have quite enough expansion to really get all the way to the next stock level, unfortunately. And then we'll take, I don't know, this one right here, and we'll put it there, 5, 6, because that will give us 1 book point, which we can turn into a money. So this is pretty simple. These all get punted back, 1, 2, 3, and then we get 1, 2, 3 money, as well as 1 tick on the track. We were 1 away from jumping over and getting to 8 shares. There was no way to make it work. But here's our $2. The purple player is out of action, so they pass, but there's no reason to draw cards because they're done for the game. And now for yellow's last action of the game. They have 3 + 1 for the Mombasa track expansion points. And it's pretty simple. They're going to take this one, invade it to get 2 diamonds, and then this one, invade over here. They'll get a book point and 1 up on a track, although that won't actually make any difference. So these 2 houses go back on Cairo. They'll go ahead and get their $1. We'll push them up the Mombasa track. Again, not that it actually matters. But what does matter is those 2 diamonds take them over 1 more threshold. Alright, the game's over. Let's count out the points. Okay, so we get points for how much gold we had left. We get points for our stocks in the 4 different companies. We get points for how far we made it up the diamond track. And then we get points for how far we made it up the book track. So looking over here, we see that we have 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 points over here for green. Then we look at the Mombasa stock. We have 1 from the cards, plus 5 from the track. So that's 6 total. And we multiply that by the amount of gold showing. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 6, that's going to be 36 points for the Mombasa track. We have 0 stock in Cape Town, but we do have 1 stock in St. Louis. And St. Louis is currently worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that gets us 5 points for that. And we've got 4 stock in Cairo, but each Cairo stock is only worth 3. So unfortunately, that's only going to be worth 12 points. Looking at the diamond track, we made it past the 10 threshold. And then looking at the bookkeeping track, we were able to make it past 30. So we add that in there. So we have a final score of 114. Purple ended the game with only 3 money. But you'll notice they have 1 Mombasa stock, 1 Cape Town, 2 St. Louis, and 2 Cairo, all from the cards they were able to purchase. So looking over here, they have 1 stock plus the 1 in their card. That's 2 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they get 12 points for the Mombasa side. And Cape Town got a bit ridiculous. They have 9 plus 1, so that's 10 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh my gosh, that's 80 points. They only have the 2 St. Louis stock from the card, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2, or 10 points. You have 2 Cairo stock in cards and 2 over here, so that's 4 times 3, so they get 12 points for that. Looking down here, they got to the 15-point section for the diamonds, and then finally they only got 15 points for their books, which gives them a monster score of 147. Now the green player ended the game with $7, and looking over here, they have 2 Cape Town, 1 St. Louis, and 1 Cairo stock just from their cards. So they've only got 2 stock in Mombasa, so 2 times 6, that's going to be 12 points for them. They didn't have any Cape Town stock on the track, but they did have those 2 cards, so that's 2 times 8, or 16 points. They've got 3 St. Louis stock here, plus 1 in cards, means 4 times 5 is 20 points for St. Louis. And they have 0 Cairo stock over here, but 1 card back at home, so that's 3 more points. Next up, yellow gets to score their diamonds, and this is where they went pretty crazy. They got 40 points for that, and then finally, for their bookkeeping, they made it all the way around and got 20. And they've got a final score of 118. So unfortunately, we definitely lost as the green player, although yellow was very close behind. Just purple blew it out of the water. I think it was all to do with that crazy 6th turn where they bought a bunch of stocks at just really, really good prices with that amazing discount. It was a perfect storm of being able to use all those bananas like crazy to get a ton of points. Also, for some reason, we were not able to keep Cape Town in check, even though the purple player was the only one really going for it, but that's how it ended up. Since this is a playthrough video, I won't be doing a review of the game at this point, but if in the future I do review the game, you can click the button that's somewhere around the screen or check the link that's down in the description. If you'd like to see more playthrough videos like this one, as well as in-depth board game reviews and vlogs, please subscribe to my channel. You can also directly support the channel at patreon.com/JohnGetsGames. Thanks for watching.